I just wanted to sit down and kind of have a frank discussion about how I've been feeling because I don't think I've disclosed too much of that. But yeah, life has just been very overwhelming. Hi, I'm Favor. Welcome to my channel, and if you're not subscribed, please hit subscribe for more videos from me. Let's dive into this video. I'm in my 20s currently, and it's just a weird time kind of trying to figure out, what you want, what you should be doing, um, how to move forward. And amongst this time where there is so much going on in the world, sometimes you're just like, what is my luck that I was, born in this timeline? That it just seems like non-stop news. Um, and it just seems like you can't escape it. Like, it just seems like one thing after the other. And another thing for me is the feeling of not doing enough, not being where I should be. I think comparison is something that as humans we can't, or we just do naturally. And of course it's not healthy necessarily, but I think it's just something as humans we do. And I find myself, comparing to people my age, people that I want to, or that, inspire me. And sometimes I'm like, damn, like, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. And I think social media and this information age plays a big part in that, which is why I want to talk about it in this video, because I've been frankly struggling with my relationship with social media for quite a while now. And it's even worse when when you are in social media and you need it for your work. So I'm a musician, and social media right now is a really big part of promoting my music, promoting, my art. And I'm really struggling with that because I just feel like there is so much information we are constantly being fed, and I am having a really tough relationship with social media because it's making me feel like I'm not doing enough a lot of the time. And it's very addictive, like, especially like apps like TikTok and all of that kind of stuff. And I just feel like sometimes I just want to come off everything. um, and I almost feel like I can't, because things are changing all the time. And especially in the industry that I'm in, you have to be on top of things. I'm an independent artist, so I'm having to try and constantly promote my music, because the truth of it is that, how else would you find your audience? So yeah, there's that. So sometimes I feel like I just can't escape it because of what I do, but I am kind of understanding that you can set certain boundaries, but it's just incredibly difficult when it's so involved in your career or what you do. So that's one thing. But then the other thing is just the information age. I think it's a great thing that we have so much information at our fingertips, more than has ever been available to us. But at the same time, it kind of, I feel like it's removing that element of us being able to think for ourselves, like individually, because I think like when you're seeing what other people are doing, or you're constantly aware of other people's opinions about things, and um you know, it unconsciously like becomes your own opinion as well, and you kind of lose your sense of individuality and um your own discernment about certain things. So let me just adjust myself. Oh, yeah. So there's that, because we're being exposed to people's opinions online, and yeah, it feels like we're all kind of slowly losing our own voice. But I think one good thing is that like we are able to share our voice. Um, but it's just when you have so many opinions left, right, and center, you sort of slowly lose your own, and you kind of take on other people's. But then the other thing is the like, why it's so confusing a lot of the time as humans. I think not only just being in my 20s, no matter what stage in life you are in, is that, like I said, there's this thing about comparison, because you're seeing what someone else is doing, and what someone else is saying that you should be doing, and where you're meant to be in life, and then you're looking at yourself and you're thinking, well, I'm not there yet, and um you're comparing yourself to the next person, whereas like back in the day you would never know what the next man was doing, because there was no internet. And this is not to say that there aren't benefits of having the internet, but it's just to highlight how it kind of breeds this kind of comparison culture, because we're so aware of what other people are doing, and like places on Instagram, like, oh, Instagram has I'm sure I'm not the only one who just feels like Instagram has changed so much over the years, and it has this very weird vibe for me when I go on it, where I don't feel as comfortable to be myself or post what I want to. And I think it has changed a lot. And I think I've had to make the conscious effort to kind of curate the kind of experience I want on that app as much as I can. And I'm not there yet, but I've had to like intentionally remove certain people who I just feel like were maybe just watching, because that's the thing. There's this what do they call it? There's this like monitoring spirit on Instagram and a lot of other social media platforms. So yeah, I just feel like people are watching you, and you know, not engaging, and it's just this weird vibe. And it kind of feeds into this comparison culture that I sense of social media these days. But then the other thing I wanted to say was the fact that we have so much information on our fingertips. I think one good thing about it is that we are aware of what's going on in the world, which is really important, because we know the power of social media, you know, with things like Palestine and issues, in Congo, Sudan, Ukraine, all these countries, um, Nigeria, so many countries going through oppression, I think it's really important to have social media because it gives us a voice amongst all of these things going on, and it gives us the information to know what is happening. Whereas back in the day, we wouldn't have that, you know. But at the same time, I feel like it can be extremely overwhelming because I just know that, especially with how the algorithm works, once you like one thing, you just get the same thing fed to you over and over again. And to the point where I was feeling guilty because it was like, I do care about these matters, um, but it started really affecting my mental health because I was just kind of losing faith in humanity, losing faith in the world. Like, it was making me angry. And, um, I think also for a lot of people come on social media to kind of engage, and get away from the real world. It's kind of meant to be in like an escape. But I think where the place that you go to escape then becomes something that you're then trying to run away from because you're seeing so much bad news, and um, that just makes it not appealing to be on either. So yeah, that was the kind of experience I was having, because, you know, I was just seeing bad news after bad news, and it was really, really affecting my mental health. And I had to come to a place where I was like, I had to acknowledge that me setting certain boundaries doesn't mean that I don't care about these causes, and that, I don't want to know what's going on, but it's that I have to put certain boundaries in place that limit the extent of what I'm seeing, or how often I'm seeing it. Um, because at the end of the day, I do want to come on social media and, have that aspect of escapism. Um, and so I have to kind of create and curate an, an environment, on there where I can enjoy it, and get the information I need if I want to, and yeah. But I know for lot of people, it feels like, you can't escape it, which is the thing about this information age, because there's just so much going on. You can't predict what you're going to swipe on next on TikTok. So I think it's just a very tricky time. So I just wanted to make this video to just say that, like, if you resonate with what I've been saying, about, life right now and the information age, and even the rise in AI. I made a previous video, about how the rise in AI is also infiltrating the music industry, and my thoughts on that. So if you want to check that out, then you can. But yeah, I think it's just a very strange time. And they say your 20s is meant to be one of the best times in your life, and I'm like, well, it's definitely been interesting. um but yeah, I'm kind of just having to ride this wave and figure things out, as I'm sure a lot of people are. So if you are in the same boat, then I hope you feel seen and heard, that you're not alone. And I think this is just the human experience. Unfortunately, or fortunately, in our day and age, and it's just a time that we're just going to have to figure out. And I think, I think these times similar to this have happened in the past, where maybe it's a different event or, um, but I think that it's this time of change and lots of having to adapt to new things. So I think it's not something that's particularly a new, sort of phenomenon, but it's obviously different events. But yeah, or just to say that the information age is, um, it's a blessing, but also not at the same time. And if you're feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated, then I see you and I hear you. And I think it's just really important to set healthy boundaries, whether that looks like following the right people on these platforms that you actually want to see on your feed and that inspire you, bring positivity to your day. And even if it's in terms of, information, there are ways that you can limit certain information. You don't have to always interact with everything you see because, like I say, the way the algorithm is built is that once you tap something, it's going to feed you that similar kind of content. So those are some things you can do. But, I think social media should be a place that we can connect and we can go to kind of escape and also find information. But we should also take the steps to protect our mental health. And I think if that means that we have to take some time off, then so be it. Do what you need to do to protect your mental health, because that is really important. And I think particularly at this time, protecting your mental health amongst everything that's going on is very, very important. So if you want to take social media breaks, then do it. And if you perhaps are in an industry like me where you feel like social media is very involved in what you do, then I think perhaps just post what you need to do and come off, or set yourself a set number of hours in a day, or whatever length of time to scroll, if you want to, and then come off. Don't just doom scroll, because that is when you fall into the trap of seeing and consuming so much. And I'm saying this to myself as well. But I know it's easier said than done. Also, if you've been admiring my top, then you can actually purchase it via the link below. I released it with the release of my debut EP. So if you would like to purchase this top as part of my collection, the Misfits collection, then hit the link below and you can get your very own. But yeah, I just wanted to be candid about how I've been feeling lately, and hopefully this resonates. I'm sure people can relate. But yeah, I hope you take care of your mental health, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.